Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Many of us have done things in the past we're not necessarily happy with. We lived in the past and we done some things that we look back on and we like, man, if I should have did it this way. I could have did that. If I only would have did fill in the blank. Your relationships will be better, right? You may have more money in your pocket depending on decisions you made. You might be more successful. Kids may be in a different spot. If you just made that decision, if you just made that call. You know, I always remember, I go back to the 90s, and I remember when the news came out and they talked about Krispy Kreme. And Krispy Kreme stocks had sold and split, and I wasn't even in the stocks. I just liked Krispy Kreme. And I thought, man, if I'd have bought some stock in Krispy Kreme, I'd be rich. I eat that all the time. Just because you eat that don't mean you know how stocks work, right? But it's like, man, if I would have just known, if I'd have known what they known, I'd be a rich man at a place that I frequented a lot. So you think about it, if I would have just known that. Think about it. A lot of us are older. I think about now. Let's go back. I want to just show you how old I am in modern times. Right. When I was 20-something, or really about 19 years old, going to school, I got my first email. Email didn't even exist when I went to school now. It's college. So I went through whole high school career. Some of y'all know this. Went through your whole high school career, and somebody would have said email, you're like, who is that? You know what that was, right? Email at that point was just coming into view. And so if you go back now and you think about, man, what if I had known about Microsoft? What if I had known about Apple? What if I had known about Google and would have just put a little bit of money into that? If I had just known, think about where I would have been today. It's easy to think that way now because, you know, hindsight. Because now it's all, but if somebody would have came to you then, like, man, they got this new thing called Google. You would, Google? What's a Google? I didn't put no money in there. I'd rather spend my money over here. I ain't going to buy no Google. Now Google is a household name. But you didn't know that back then. So only if I would have known. So we blame ourselves a lot for stuff we didn't even know. And then we also blame ourselves for a lot for the things that we did know. And we want to forget about it. We want to move forward. We want to fix it. But it's hard to let go of the past. Because the past is, you feel like it what makes you today, but it's hard to move forward without letting go. Am I right? All right. The Israelites did this too. Go to Numbers. Numbers 14. Numbers 14. Start at verse 39. It said, when Moses reported this to all the Israelites, they mourned bitterly. Early the next morning, they set out for the highest point in the hill country, saying, now we are ready to go up to the land the Lord promised. Surely we have sinned. But Moses said, why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This will not succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not with you. You will be defeated by your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites will face you there, because you have turned away from the Lord. He will not be with you, and you will fall by the sword. Nevertheless, in their presumption, they went up toward the highest point in the hill country, though neither Moses nor the ark of the Lord's covenant moved from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in that hill country came down and attacked them and beat them down all the way to Hormah. So what happened here? The Lord had promised them the land. He said this is their land, and they knew it. They knew the Lord promised it to them. And he told them it was theirs, and they trusted in the Lord, right? But during that time, they did something they shouldn't have. Go to Numbers 14. Numbers 14, 26 and 27. This is right before the scripture we read. It said, the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, how long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the complaints of these grumbling Israelites. So what happened is he sent some spies up to Canaan, and they looked and they said, okay, this land gonna be hard to overtake, right? And the people started grumbling, even though the Lord had promised it to them. So then the Lord said, why do these people keep grumbling against me? So he told them it wasn't going to be theirs right now. But in order to fix what they had done, they said, well, he promised it to us. And they acknowledged, remember, they said, we know we have sinned. Said, we're going to go up anyway. They tried to just erase what they had done, right? Let's just move forward. Let's just go ahead and take it anyway. But what happened? They were beat down. So, yes, their past, they messed up. And they kept messing up. They kept grumbling. But notice how they tried to correct it. So a lot of times what we'll try to do is we try to fix the past by erasing the past. So some of us hold on to it. Some of us try to erase it. When it's raining outside and you driving, you don't go too fast, right? Why don't you go so fast? Because there's a threat of doing what? Hydroplane. You don't want to hydroplane. Because when you hydroplane, what happens is water get between your tires and the street, and you just sliding on the road, right? But when you start going this way, what do most people do? Most people grab that steering wheel and slang it the other way. And what's that called? Overcorrection. And when you overcorrect, you go from this side of the street to that side of the street. And you crossing traffic, you're hitting walls, you're spinning, and you make it worse. A lot of us, what we try to do is we notice we messed up. I messed up and I messed up bad. But we try to move fast to get right back where we were. Let's erase the mistake. Let's go back to where we were, pretend like it never happened, but we end up making it worse. So instead of just, what are you supposed to do when you hydroplane? You're just supposed to slowly turn ease. Whenever you see yourself veering, right? You might fall asleep on the road and you hear, right? Instead of just slinging it, just ease, right? Get back where you were. It take a little longer, but you're okay. But we try to just, oh no, and erase what we've done. Well, that's how we live life too. Instead of just easing back, asking for forgiveness and moving ahead, we try to erase everything. Let me get back to where we were, right? You arguing with your spouse. Instead of just apologizing, right? Well, they'll say, oh, just forget I said it. Don't worry about it. Let's just get back to what we were doing. It don't work that way. Now I feel like you don't care about my feelings. You ain't going to address what you did. You just want to cover it up and get back to where we were. How are we going to get back to where we were if we don't address what just happened? All we got to do is address what happened and ease back to where we were. Just give it a little time. It's okay. But we try to just hush. Oh, don't worry about it. Okay, whatever. And then we're going to sit back here and look at the movie. The movie time over, right? Ruin the movie, right? Can't look at the movie no more. I don't want to look at the movie. Pause again. Let's finish this conversation. And I don't want to finish the conversation. Just look at the movie. How are we going to look at the movie, right? You done threw popcorn on me and I'm supposed to look at the movie? So we have to think of what we're doing. But we try to erase everything. And that's how we do. We make it worse. And it gets worse and it gets worse because we don't want to address the issue. But we try to fix the issue. I got to fix it. But I can't always fix it. What I can do is address it. Now, once I address it, I'm going to let it go. Because it's been addressed. That's it. Let's let it go. We got to move forward. Paul, Philippians 3:13. What does he say? Brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it. But one thing I can do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. I think it's a keen point that he said sisters right here. Sometimes my wife just tend to go back in the past and pull this up. I don't even think about that. You don't remember when 6 years ago. Anyway, I ain't gonna say nothing about it. I ain't gonna say nothing about that. Yeah, she back there. But when you think about it, right? Think about it. Don't worry about the past. You got so much ahead of you that you can't consider the past. Now, notice it says, forgetting what is behind. Come on now. Bring it to it. Paul, this is Paul talking. And you think about what Paul was a great man. Paul, before he converted, persecuted people. persecuted the same people he's now teaching to. Now imagine if I'm getting up here talking to you and I just tried to beat you last week. You don't want to listen to me. How would you listen to me, right? Now you establishing churches? You were just beating these same people a few weeks ago. But he says, forgetting what is behind, because God has you on something better. So he had to forget a lot of stuff. So he's telling you, you got to forget, you got to let go. But why do you need to forget it? Because other people try to hold it over your head too. Other people say, why you so high-minded? Why you think you all that? You going to church? You this, you that? You can't, because you have to forget. But you also have to forget the good times too, the successes as well. In Philippians 3, 4 through 8, he says, if someone else think they have reasons to put confidence in the flesh, he says, I have more. Meaning, I got a lot of accomplishments that I've done. He was circumcised on the 8th day, that's in line with custom, of the people of Israel, the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews, he calls himself. In regard to the law, Paul says he was a Pharisee, right? As for zeal, I persecuted because of the church. As for righteousness based on law, faultless. So he was perfect when it came to custom and tradition. But he said, whatever were gains to me, I now consider a loss for the sake of Christ. What is more, I consider everything a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord, for whose sake I have lost all things. I consider them garbage that I may gain Christ. Garbage. He had to let it go. Success and persecution. Things that were bad and things that were good. All that in the past, I got to let it go. And I want to tell y'all, it's hard to let go of the past. The good and the bad. I had the luxury yesterday, so RJ's getting ready, he's looking at colleges. Now, one of the colleges that he's looking at is UGA. Y'all know how I feel about the school, all right? So we went there, did a college visit a few weeks ago and walked around, and man, it's so beautiful now. You know, they done built up stuff. I'm like, I don't remember this. I don't remember this. Just I'm right back at home. You know, you spend 4 years of your life somewhere, you get to know it. So yesterday, happened to get some tickets and go to the homecoming game. So I'm like, man, we get to go to a game? Boy, you ain't seen nothing like this before. So, you know, man, you could have popped me with a pen. I couldn't wait to take him up there. When I get up there, and just so happens it's Black Alumni Weekend. I've never been to, Black Alumni. So we go to the old tents, and I hear my name, Reggie. I'm like, oh, people over here I ain't seen in a while. 20 years, right? And I'm getting to see these people. They taking selfies with me and him. He's like, man, he's like, you know a lot of people. I said, yeah, we had a good time. So people start telling them old stories. I'm like, hold on now, don't go too far. Son, man. So we go back to the past, basically. This is my old stomping ground. This is where I spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort, right? And so they're like, man, your daddy, boy, when he was here, oh, your daddy. You talk about me. But what happened is you start to live back in the past. And it's easy to go back. Like, man, we had a good time. That was 20-some-odd years ago, right? But you look back and you say, man, it's so easy to get back to where you were. People bringing up stuff and talking about stuff, and it was fun. Had a good time. But the one thing that they said is that your daddy was smart. He didn't let go of the books. And I couldn't, because some of them could afford to let go of the books. Man, it's expensive to be up there. I gotta pay the cost, right? I can't let this go. So I said, focus, energy, good. Gave me a good lesson to teach on the ride home. But what you realize is the past really wasn't that long ago. And there were a lot of good times, and there were some bad times, and there was a lot of stuff in between. But it allowed you to see how quick it is to go back in time. And I thought about it. And I thought about the lesson of that. And I said, wow, the past really isn't that far away. The past is always right on your heels, All you got to do is look back, and it's always there. And depending on what your past look like, people can stand right behind you and hold it over your head. And you could be trying to go up, you could be trying to excel, and people just hold it, and they try to press it on you and press it on you. I remember when. You know, I got friends who I really don't have. I think about the friends who I have the great relationships with from the past and the friends that really we don't have much of a relationship. And the ones that I don't have much of a relationship with are the ones who live mostly in the past. Every time I talk to them, man, you remember when? Man, I remember when. Man, remember the time. I remember when we used to. And I'm like, man, as great as it was or as bad as it was, what about now? What about today? We don't have no relationship. All we have is the past. And guess what? The phone calls get less and less because I only got so many stories. The past is only full of so much. You can only study so much from the past because it's over. I can't make nothing new because it's in the past. And every time you talk to them, it's something from the past. Well, guess what? I got to let the past go. Because if we just sit here and reminisce all the time, what's the point? You know who do that a lot? Drunks. Drunks and people who smoke a lot. Let's just be real. Because if you with people who get high and who get drunk, a lot of times what started happening is, man, I remember back when we used to, like, man, if you don't put that down, go home. I don't know what it is about you that want to sit here and think about the past. You need to stop drinking that stuff. Let it go. But that's what people do. And you know why? Because right now hurts. A lot of times they want to remember because it takes them to a better place. Well, guess what? God has already put you in a better place. So you don't need substances and you don't need memories. All you need is to look ahead of what he has. And how do we look towards the future? It says in Proverbs 3:5-6, it's perfect. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Now, when you think about this verse, look at it a little bit clearer. Because when we look ahead, we don't see a straight path. We see obstacles we got to get through to get where we want to get. But he says with his knowledge, he'll make it straight. What is straight? Straight means easier. Because if you give me a path full of curves and twists and turns and I got to jump over something and I don't quite see the path, because a curvy path, I can't see, right? I don't know where I'm going. It's a curve, but make my path straight. That means 1 foot in front of the other. Oh, that's a beautiful path. I like that path. But the path I create for myself and that I allow other people to create is all twisty and windy, and I got to go up and down, and I don't know, man, I don't know what is going on right in the corner. But ain't nowhere else to go, so I got to hit the curve. But he said he will make my path straight with his understanding. That means when I'm thinking and when I'm listening to my friends and my associates say, gonna make my path complex, complicated, hard. But he make my path straight with his understanding. What I got to do? I got to let go of my understanding. I got to let go of my past. Now, why do I have to let go of my past? Because my past, I'll allow to dictate my future. That's how the world works. Your past always dictates your future. You say, well, how? If I don't have the knowledge to do this job from the past, I can't do the job now. And I have to let go of the opportunity of success. But God said he can put you in a place to where no man has placed you. He places you there. That means a lot of times where you didn't see success, God can put you in success. A lot of times your relationship with your significant other, with your friends, you don't see how it can be healed. They done hurt you so bad, or y'all argue so much, or things done went so awry that you can't even see a way to fix this. I just got to let it go. He said, I can straighten that all the way out. Because you basing it on the past. But I'm basing it on where you are now in the future. You can't bring the past to your present. You got to let things go. A lot of times when people go to camp, what do they talk about? The past. We need to heal. I remember when you did this. I remember when you did this. And you may be a different person today, but we got to get all that out. Why? So we can move. But some people ain't going to let you move forward because they say, he can't change. She can't change. God said you're a new creature. But people say, nah, you this, you that, you all this. No, I am what God says I am. In Philippians 13 and 14, 13 and 14. Let's read again. It says, brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it. But one thing I do know, forgetting what is behind and straining forward for what is ahead. And 14 is where I want to focus. I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. One thing about pressing forward, when we go to the analogies of sports, when we go to the analogies of competition in general, whether it's a chess game, whether you on Jeopardy, or whatever, when people looking at TV and they looking at you being competitive in whatever activity that you in, there's going to be somebody that they cheering for and somebody that they cheering against. And guess what? If you were to take a poll of the people watching, it probably end up being 50-50, right? Because just because we cheering for the United States in the Olympics, somebody else is cheering for the other team, right? Just as many people, if not more. There's always going to be somebody cheering against you. Amen. It depends on what you want to listen to. But somebody always going to be saying, you can't do it. Oh, he ain't this. He ain't that. What if you focus on the detractors all the time? People will look at you. He ain't strong enough. He don't look like he can lift that. He don't look like he can jump that far. He don't look that smart. He don't know the answer. He knows that. Whatever it is you're doing, somebody going to base what they want just based on the way that you look. I want you to think about it now. Y'all done worked on a job for a little while, and here come the new guy. Oh, we just hired Keith over there. Here come Keith. Keith may walk like this. Keith may walk like this. Keith may slide in. Keith may be yawning. Based on what you see from him walking in that door, oh, he ain't going to be here long. You don't even know that man. He just walked in. He just is his first day. You ain't even shook his hand. You sitting there like, oh, there go the new guy. Oh, man, he ain't going to be. And then they come up, this Keith. How you doing? How you doing, Keith? What you think about Keith? I might get my 2 weeks. He ain't gonna last long. I promise you he ain't gonna last long. You don't even know him. And you already done stacked your bet against him. Or he can come in looking like, hey, how you doing, sir? Oh, he gonna work out. And guess what? You been wrong and you been right. The guy who was straight up and shook your hand and was like, yeah, I want to learn, turned out to be just as horrible as he wanted to be. He good at introducing the people. Now, when the supervisors come over, oh, how you doing? As soon as he leaves, man, you done seen those types of people. You can't base on what you see. But people do you the same way. Your first day coming in, it was people that bet against you, people that bet on you. And it's going to always be the case. It's going to be loved ones the same way. Based on what they know about you. Oh, I know her. Them the ones that's probably the hardest to convince because they know you so well. And they involved in your life because they see so much of what you're doing. And guess what? You put that same weight on you. I wish I wouldn't have. If only I could have. I should have. And it's just burdensome. And you carry that weight. And a lot of times the way you look, the way you try to dress, the way you try to become is all based upon what people need to see. I always tell you like this. I asked my son yesterday. I said, you know what? When you go to school, because he at that point in his life, right? I can't be there. I can't be there all the time. You got to do your own thing. But if you just do and be what you are now, just stay. You got the keys. Just don't let nobody take them from you. That's the biggest thing. Once you figure it out, it's going to be people trying to take it from you. It's so many people that try to break us. Think about how many times you've seen people on, and it's TV and it's real life though, friends put something in a friend's drink just to see what happened. Them your friends, but it happens. People playing jokes on somebody that could hurt them. Things people putting people in situations trying to convince them, try this, do this, date him, date her, knowing they the wrong person just because they want to see what happened. And these are friends. But if you know what you should be doing and stay on the path best you can, man, things tend to work out. But I always say, when you say, man, people really like me, I don't know why, that's always a good sign. I'm going to tell you why. And this, I'm going off my lesson as I tend to do, but that's okay. When you say, I don't know why, that's a good thing. Because that means you just being you. That's right. I'm just being me, and I got some good friends. That's awesome. But when you say, people like me because I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, and I'm that, not only are you focused on the things, but you tend to try to do those things so much so that people will keep liking you. Because if I say people like me because I'm funny, guess what? You're going to try to be funny and too funny and joking all the time. People like me because I dress well and I keep a good company. Guess what? You're going to try to always be that person because you think you figured out the formula. But when you just are who you are, that's all it takes. And guess what? There are going to be some people that don't like you. And that's okay as well. I think about it. I am so blessed. Just me, being me. I'm just being real with you. Great kids. Love my kids. And they coming up in a great way. I'm blessed because of y'all. I got a great family, right? I'm just who I am. My family allowed me to be who I am, right? Y'all don't judge me for who I am, and y'all know me. I tell y'all exactly who I am. It ain't no secret, right? And I think that is a blessing. You know how blessed you are that you can just be yourself in this place? Just be you. Ain't nobody asking you to be nothing different. Just want you to be you, but want you to be the best God you that you can be. That's it. That's all we want. You ain't got to try to impress nobody, be something you haven't been. Ain't nobody trying to erase your past because your past is there. We ain't trying to erase it. You address it, you move on. That's it. That's a blessing. And it's a blessing to be in a place that allows you to do that. We know we all got a past. We all got stuff. I don't care how big of a silver spoon you grew up with. I don't care how successful you are. You done made some mistakes. You got some regret. But we will not live in regret because it doesn't have a future. We got to heal. We got to move forward. In Ephesians 1:4, it says, for he chose us. He chose us before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight, in love. Notice that next sentence, not even a real sentence, in love. Just right there, just sit there, in love. I want you to think about that. He chose you to be blameless in his sight. Now, if anybody got a reason to judge somebody, it's God. And he says you're blameless. So why are you blaming yourself so much here on earth? Why are you putting so much on yourself when he says you're blameless? This is his words. I didn't add nothing to it. Blameless in his sight. That means he's looking at you right now and you blameless. So why are you sitting here making yourself such a horrible person? I'm so bad. I'm so this. I'm so that. How are you disgusted at what you look at when he's looking at you as beautiful, as great, as wonderful? But we tend to look at our flaws. We tend to look at how we can correct things, how we can do things better. A lot of us won't go back to old reunions and around family because of how we look today. You old. That's it. 15, 20, 30 years done went by. Guess what you're going to go? You're going to go to your reunion, and what you going to see? Some more old people. And guess what? When you look at yourself, what they going to see? An old person. Because you old. I'm old. You know what? When I walked to that black alumni thing yesterday, we just walking to the game. We just walking to the game, and I said, black people, I'm going to go over here. And it was the black alumni. I said, oh, man. And I see a bunch of people, and I'm like, man, some old people over here. That's my class. And then the young people came, which was RJ people, like, man, we sure were young. We sure were. Not no more. And guess what? We left the game and came back and had got late. And now the music done started and people dancing. And I went to the dance floor part, bunch of young people. I walk over to where the old people were. They breaking down chairs and tables. Get ready to go. Get ready to go home. Man. It's 7 o'clock. It's dark. We got to get out of here. Got their tents, got their chairs. Hey, y'all. See y'all. See y'all next year. All right. I'll let y'all. They ain't want to talk no more. It's time to go home. I got to go somewhere. We old. It's okay. It's okay to look the way you are. It's okay to be the person you are. The fact that you're here. It's people, I'm 46 years old. It's people I know that ain't made it to 46. They gone. It's some people who I know 46 who look 66, who look 76. And I'm not even exaggerating. Life been rough. And that's okay. I'm just letting you know. People that ain't moving no more. People that done been in accidents. People that done lost kids. People that done lost family. And it happens to us all. That's called life. Life happens. And if you are sitting here and you can breathe, go show somebody you can breathe. Don't lock yourself in the house and make yourself just breathe house air. Get out. Breathe outdoor air. Go do something. Go be something. Quit wondering about what other people see. All the shoulda, coulda, wouldas are based on other people. That's what coulda, woulda's about. You can't walk out and be a part of a group or a group from the past or live your life because you think other people see what you thinking about. You got to forget about it because ain't nobody else thinking about it. And if they are, forget about them. I mean, for real. That's what we got to do because God say you blameless. So walk blameless. What do? Walk in with confidence. Quit walking apologetically, thinking you owe somebody something. You don't owe nobody anything. If you've apologized and you addressed it and they say, I don't forgive you, what more can you do? You can't be their slave. You can't fix it. You can't allow them just to be like, okay, well, you going to do this for me and do that. No, you're not. You messed up. Okay, it's over. And what, they going to hold it over you for 15, 20 years? They can try, but you're a grown, independent person. You ain't nobody's slave. You ain't nobody's servant. You've addressed it. You've apologized. God is forgiving you. You've asked for their forgiveness, whether they choose to give it to you or not. What you going to do? You can't just carry it all the time. Because guess what that's going to do? That's going to make you look worse on the outside and inside. When you go through a lot of pain and you just hold on to that pain, it wears on you. But you got to learn to smile, baby. You got to let it go. You got to be free. And freedom feels so good. The fresh air feels so good. So when you think about, you can't erase your past. You can't overcorrect your past. There's some bad things that happened to you that other people did. You got to let that go too. Not for their sake, but for yours. Because once you let it go, all the shackles break off. And you can move confidently. What I want you to be able to do is to walk into any room. I don't care who's in the room. But if God put you on this earth, you should walk into any room and be like, hey, I'm here. What's the worst that's going to happen? I was moving around yesterday, and RJ's like, can we go in there? I don't know. Let's go in here and see. What they going to say? You can't be in here. Okay, let's leave. Ain't nobody going to do nothing to me, right? That's it. I just want to see what's in here. Man, it's doing. Let's go in here. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Okay. What's this? Oh, this is the such and such facility. Can we get a tour? Sure. All right. That's all you're going to ask. The only thing they're going to say, man, who are you? What you doing here? Oh, I don't know. I just walked in here. Man, I've lived enough life. And the one thing about living life that I've learned that's so great, the one thing about living life, let me tell y'all this just came to me. The one thing about living life that I want to do more of is live life. And the last thing I want to do is let it pass me by. So if it causes me to have to move through life with a smile, with joy, with grace, and with confidence, that's what I'm going to do. And I put myself and my family in some embarrassing situations doing it. And you know what the beauty about it is? I don't even care. I embarrass my kids on the daily. I love it. Because why? Hey, man, I got the confidence to do it. That's my daddy. He just loud and he do whatever he want to do. When I pick my kids up from school, when I'm in the line and they back face toward me, or Laura looking at me now, you know what I do when I pull up? I roll down the window. I get out the car. I stand on the hood. RJ! Laura! Oh, that's my daddy. And parents be looking at me, kids be looking at me, administrators. What they gonna do? Nothing? That's my kid. It is what it is. I don't even care. I'm just living life, y'all. I'm just happy. I'm just happy as much as I can be happy. And guess what? I do get down sometimes. Don't get me wrong. But for the most part, if I'm happy, the world gonna know I'm happy. God put me here to be happy, and I want to extend joy, as much joy as possible. Because one day I'm not gonna be here. And I'm gonna be laid out. I don't know if it's up here. It's gonna be somewhere. Maybe, right? Yeah. Unless God take me. I want you to get up here and be like, you know what? He sure was happy. Like, sure was. And when it may look weird, but if you talk to the whoever do my body, just tell them to do this. That gonna look strange, but you know. And take my glasses off. You know, it look weird when you sit there with your glasses on and your eyes closed, but listen. I just want y'all to know that one day we all gonna leave here. But we're going to a better place. And I want you to think about it. I want you to think about this. I want you to, because we got 3 more lessons in this. But I want you to go home. I want you to think about something right quick. How many funerals have you been to? Been to quite a few, ain't you? It's rare that you go to a funeral and people say, you know what, he ain't here no more, or she ain't here no more. I wish they would have. If they could have, they should have. If they would have, then we wouldn't. You don't hear that much at a funeral, do you? But you live your life that way. Why would you live your life that way and nobody else expecting you to live your life that way? People ain't around here thinking, man, they'd be all right if they would have, if they should have, if they could have. Quit putting that on yourself. Just live your life today and say, I am going to serve God. I am going to allow him to lead me. I am going to be at peace. I am going to have joy. I am going to be happy. Not tomorrow, right now. And as I'm happy right now, as you have peace and you have joy right now, guess what? You will have a whole lot less should have, could have, and would have. You will say, I did. I accomplished. Look at me now. That's a beautiful thing to say. Look at me right now. Look how happy I am right now. And it ain't fake joy, it's real joy. Because it's God-given joy and God-given peace and God-given understanding.